Hello everyone, welcome back to another lecture. Today we will talk about achieving strategic fit in a supply chain. This is a very critical and important issue. Every single supply chain needs to understand what they are good at and what their strategy is in terms of entering the market. So in this chapter, we will talk about achieving strategic fit and how to assess if it is successful. We will talk about how companies should align their supply chain strategies with their competitive strategy and make sure that their supply chain supports their competitive strategy and the value that they are creating for their customers. Also, we're going to talk about uncertainty in supply chains. Obviously, we are planning for long term when we are building a supply chain and running a supply chain, and therefore there are lots and lots of uncertainty in the market, in the processes, and so on. And therefore we have to consider the uncertainty and how we can actually deal with it and make sure that products are ready, available for the customers whenever they want, wherever they want. So let's talk about competitive strategy first. What exactly is a competitive strategy? So you can take a look at any business anywhere, any product around you. You understand that they have every single product has a supply chain, right? So every single supply chain, every single business has a strategy in terms of competing in the market. So for example, if you look at some technology related devices such as some Samsung smartphone or Apple smartphone, what they are doing, they're trying to be basically best in the market in terms of adding new technologies. For example, these days, these devices are trying to add AI assistant to help their users in many different forms, right? So they are trying to be the best in terms of what they are doing. So it's actually their competitive strategy. But we can also look at some other examples. For example, Walmart. Walmart's competitive strategy has been low cost and availability for so long time, and that's why you see a lot of Walmart supermarkets all around the United States, as well as they built a lot of neighborhood stores as well. And because their strategy is to be available anywhere for the customers to walk in and purchase things for a low cost. On the other hand, if you look at Whole Foods market, they are more focused on the quality, having high-end brands and also variety. So they do offer variety of things and variety of clean and green brands and so on and so forth. So again, when it comes to deciding about competitive strategy, each business, each supply chain needs to first look at their customer base, who exactly they want to cover, and what that customer segment values. What is important for those customers? So some customers do value low cost, low price, basically. And therefore, there are some supermarkets that do offer low cost options to encourage those customer base and customer segment to become a customer for their business. Some customers do value delivery time. And so obviously, a buyer can go to a store. It might be a local store close by, or for example, they have to drive for a long time to get there. For example, you consider Costco. Costco offers low cost, but again, they're not necessarily Costco stores are available everywhere like Walmart. So people have to drive some distance to get there, right? So, but on the side of online deliveries these days, people are interested in purchasing online, specifically during and after COVID. So delivery time for online purchases also is important. Amazon is a pioneer in that space. Walmart, for example, tried to add 2-day online shipping, well, with a cost, and they are trying to manage that. Target started doing that during after COVID. So they are basically trying to figure out what their customer value and how they can compete in this market. Some customers interested in variety. So for example, you can go to a convenience store close by. They don't have variety of things, obviously, but if you walk into a Whole Foods market, you see a lot of variety in there. So again, each business tries to figure out which customer base they want to serve and have to decide about their competitive strategy. And also quality. So some people really interested in high quality, high end products. For example, you go watch furniture. Some people like customizable furniture. Some people are okay with general setups, such as IKEA and others, right? So then the quality and the reliability, all these matter to people, and businesses try to figure out which one to choose and have to set up their entire business, entire supply chain to support this competitive strategy. So, in order to better understand supply chain strategy, competitive strategy, and also align them together and figure out the strategic fit for the supply chain, businesses need to pay a close attention to their value chain. So, basically, what a value chain is, it helps us to start from the beginning of the operations and go through all the processes in the business and try to make sure that we create the value at the end for our customers. So, for example, a business, when someone is producing a product, they have to first obviously design the new product, go through the research and development, and then market that product to sell it. In between, there are some operations in terms of raw materials, so finding raw materials, manufacturing the product, distributing it, the inventory processes, and also services even after sales. And also, there are some other stuff happening in the business. We have finance related processes, accounting, information technology, human resources, and so on. So, every single piece of this value chain is working to make sure that we are creating the value at the end for our customers. And customers are happy with what they are receiving at the end. It can be a service, it can be a product. But it is important that we set up our value chain, the entire thing, to match the competitive strategy. So if we want to be fast and responsive, short time to deliver new product to the market, the entire value chain should work with that strategy, meaning that our marketing should be fast, our operation should be fast, our distribution should be fast, our customer service should be fast. So every single piece should work together in a way that supports this competitive strategy and eventually the supply chain strategy. So that's why it is important to understand that there are different kind of strategies we are setting up inside our business. So starting even from new product development strategies. So for example, Apple tries to design new products, add new technologies to their products, but also they're trying to be fast in terms of what they are doing because they're setting up strategy to be number one, for example, in the market. So they have to align their strategy to be responsive and to be fast. So every single piece of our value chain has its own strategy, such as product development, marketing, sales, distribution, finance, information technology, and so on. And also all that can also affect supply chain strategy. So if we want to be a responsive supply chain, then every single piece should be responsive, and that will contribute to the supply chain strategy. because eventually, when we are going through our value chain, doing all those processes, they will contribute to the supply chain of that product, that service, and we want it to be responsive, or we want it to be cost efficient. So there should be alignment between supply chain strategy and competitive strategy. Any misalignment can cause a lot of problems. For example, let's say that our goal is to be fast in delivering new technologies to the customers, but on the other hand, suddenly we set up our supply chain, for example, work with suppliers who are not really fast in what they're doing. It takes time for them to complete and deliver because they are more cost efficient. So there is this misalignment, and therefore we will not be achieving our goal of being responsive in the market. So then what is exactly strategic fit? So strategic fit means that our competitive strategy is aligned with our supply chain strategy. So we can set up the entire strategy to be competitive in the market with other competitors out there, and then set up our supply chain. Again, we might consider ourselves to be cost efficient, but supply chain is not supporting that. We are working with high cost distribution companies. Doesn't really fit our strategy. So these two should align, and therefore we can achieve strategic fit. So first, we have to look at our customer priorities, what really our customers value. Low cost, high variability, high quality, whatever it is, we have to set up our competitive strategy accordingly, and then set up our supply chain strategy according to that so that we can achieve a strategic fit. Obviously, any lack of strategic fit can be very problematic in terms of providing the demand and being successful in the market. An example we have here is 7-Eleven Japan. They achieve a strategic fit because their strategy is to be convenience and available, and their supply chain supports that. Actually, they have multiple daily deliveries to the store, making sure that everything is fresh, everything is available. It is convenience for people to just walk in and purchase some stuff. So their supply chain in terms of distribution and having replenishing the store matches what they want actually to achieve in their business. So we can actually categorize the steps to achieve a strategic fit. Every single business, in order to be successful, should achieve a strategic fit, meaning that their competitive strategy and their supply chain strategy should be aligned. In order to do that, first of all, they need to understand their customers, who their customers are, what they value, and also what kind of uncertainty that it creates for the entire business, for the entire supply chain. And then, based on that uncertainty, they figure out how they can control that uncertainty or act to mitigate the risks based on that uncertainty. And therefore, if they do that, they're going to achieve a strategic fit. So, for example, there might be customers who value quality of the products. So it creates some uncertainty for the supply chain because they have to make sure that the quality matches really high standards. There might be a really limited number of suppliers who can give us that high quality, and therefore finding them, making sure that they're available becomes even more complex, right? And then we have to understand if our supply chain is capable of doing that, meaning that we have enough money to find high-end suppliers to support this. And then if we do, we can achieve our strategic fit by aligning the competitive strategy with our supply chain strategy. But let's take a look at these 3 steps in more details. First of all, understanding customer needs and what actually how it actually can cause uncertainty. So the quantity of products available for the customers is important. So obviously customers do have different kind of demands. Again, there might be retail stores, but there might be stores where customers purchase basically their wholesales stores, right? B2B stores, business to business. Businesses purchase some stuff such as repair parts and so on and so forth. So there's so many different kind of businesses and supply chains here. So the product order, the product demand quantity matters. So are we going to support just customers who are purchasing smaller amounts but frequent, or it is the other, vice versa? Maybe we are just selling for the customers who purchase in large quantities but less often, right? So it can create uncertainty because we don't know exactly what future demand will look like. We can forecast, we can anticipate future demand, we can use data analytics to help us understand future demand and work on that, but it's uncertain. It's not for sure to know what exactly to expect. Variety also may be a value for customers. So customers want to walk into the store, have access to everything. So stores such as Target and Walmart, they are selling home goods as well as groceries and party celebration stuff. So they have variety of stuff in their store. And but it creates uncertainty because again, how would you know what kind of products to have in the store to have that variety, and how would you know the quantity of each so that there isn't much of a stock out, there isn't much of a you know specifically on the groceries or the things that expire soon, we don't want to them go to waste. So again, variety creates uncertainty because now we don't know exactly what to bring to the store, how much. Some customers are price sensitive, meaning that they are okay with high price or they are not. So this is a constraint for the stores, therefore working with different brands offering pricing that is important for the customers. This can become uncertain because again, we don't know exactly how customers going to react to the price. We can use again analytics to help us to understand that to some extent, but still it brings the entire store some uncertainty. Response time. So some customers are okay with waiting. For example, if you do purchase customized furniture, usually you're okay to wait because of the quality, because of the personalization of the product. But some customers do not want to wait and waste time, right? So in online purchases or in store purchases, so we have to work with it. And again, we don't know exactly what customers do expect. We can learn from past, but again, there's some uncertainty there. Service levels. Some customers do expect fast access to their products. So, for example, the availability should be high, meaning that they walk into the store and they don't want to see empty shelves. They want everything to be available all the time. So again, but for the retail stores which are carrying so many stuff, service level or the level of availability of the products can be complex because depending on the demand and demand changes, they don't know which products exactly to be on the shelves or be all ordered every week, every 2 weeks, every month, so that the shelves are not empty. Innovation rate. Some customers do value innovation. For example, if you're purchasing a smartphone, you want to see the best technologies out there, right? But in some products, such as grocery, really innovation doesn't matter. So again, based on the innovation rate, there might be some uncertainties. In technology and information systems, there are a lot of uncertainty because technology changes every day. But on more regular fundamental products, no, we don't really expect that much of innovation and that much of uncertainty. So I have some questions for you to review what we just covered. Please review these questions, pause the video, think about the answers, and you can find basically answers to questions in the previous slides that we just covered. The answers also is in the next slide. So you can navigate to the next slide and see the answers. The first question is, Walmart and Amazon both sell groceries. What is the primary difference in their competitive strategy? And how should this different shape their supply chain strategy? So again, think about their competitive strategy and then think about setting up their supply chain strategy accordingly so that they can achieve strategic fit. It is different for Walmart compared to Amazon. Amazon wanted to compete with Walmart because Walmart has so many physical stores, very accessible to the customers, very close to the customers. Walmart can capture a lot of information on the customers because of physical appearance. But Amazon actually tried to build Amazon stores, and then Amazon purchased Whole Foods so that it can create physical um, locations and be close to the customers and compete with Walmart. And Walmart tries to compete online with Amazon by offering online shipments and online purchases, working with different providers and so on. So, but they do have different kind of strategies, competitive strategy, supply chain strategy. I want you to think about them. Question two is a customer segment demands very short lead times and high product variety. How does this affect implied demand uncertainty? If a customer wants very short lead time, meaning that very fast delivery, fast access to the product, and also have access to various products at the same time, how this gonna affect demand uncertainty? And also what supply chain capabilities can help offer that. So think about if a customer wants short lead time, fast delivery, what should the company have to be able to do that? We're going to cover on that next. And then name 3 steps to achieve strategic fit and why the order of these steps are important. We just covered strategic fit. I'm sure that you can answer this question. And then last one is a company's marketing team promises next day delivery for all orders. The supply chain team was never consulted. What risk does the scenario shows? So obviously, our marketing strategy is to be fast, but supply chain strategy might not. Then what happens? All right. Please think about these answers, the answers to these questions, and then you can find the answers in the next slide.